Have you ever told someone, "I'm not celebrating my birthday this year," and felt their eyebrows raise in surprise? Maybe a friend asks, "Why not?" Maybe a family member frowns. Suddenly you're the outlier, the odd one, the weird one. But what if there's a hidden psychology behind it? What if ignoring your birthday isn't apathy? It's safety, self-protection, and emotional intelligence. This is the video for you. Psychology of people who ignore their birthday because it feels safer. And yes, if the thumbnail made you pause, why people ignore their birthday, you clicked on the right video. We'll explore why some people stop celebrating entirely, why others forget by accident, how internal happiness and self-worth redefine what it means to feel special, and how these patterns trace back to childhood lessons, brain chemistry, and life experience. By the end, you'll understand that skipping birthdays can be a mark of resilience, not weakness. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see yourself reflected in this psychology, someone who doesn't need society's approval to feel whole. Before we explore the neuroscience, let's first look at the childhood patterns that quietly teach people to protect themselves emotionally, and why that shapes how they celebrate, or don't celebrate, their birthdays. Some people learn early that hope can hurt. Maybe a party didn't happen as imagined. Maybe praise or recognition was rare. Maybe every expectation met disappointment. This isn't sadness. It's adaptive intelligence. Psychologists call it emotional self-reliance, a system your brain develops to protect you from repeated pain. Predictable protection. Your brain prioritizes experiences you can control over ones you cannot. Internal happiness. You learn to generate joy from your actions rather than others' approval. Reduced disappointment. By lowering expectations, you minimize the emotional sting. Imagine being 8 years old, anticipating a birthday party for weeks, only to have it canceled at the last minute. Every year, the brain registers, waiting for external validation hurts. Let's adjust. By adolescence, the strategy is automatic. You don't even consciously think, "I'll avoid parties." It feels safer to skip them altogether. And here's the paradox. This emotional armor doesn't make people cold or unfeeling. It actually creates a subtle form of resilience. People like this can handle disappointment, stress, and uncertainty better than most, but in ways that often go unnoticed. Some grow up seeing celebrations as fleeting or unreliable. Others see them as optional rituals that don't define their worth. The key takeaway: not celebrating birthdays can be a learned form of emotional self-preservation, a quiet superpower, invisible to society but profoundly protective. Next, we'll explore the neuroscience behind why ignoring birthdays feels safer, including dopamine prediction errors, time perception, and how the brain decides when something is worth celebrating. Our brains are prediction machines, constantly comparing expectations with outcomes. When a birthday repeatedly fails to meet expectations, no party, no attention, no recognition, the brain experiences a prediction error. Dopamine, the reward chemical, is released when expectation and reality mash. But if reality keeps falling short, dopamine release diminishes. This isn't apathy. It's efficiency. The brain says, why invest emotional energy if it's likely to disappoint? Some people even experience time blindness. Their life is full of priorities, projects, deadlines, and responsibilities. Dates like birthdays simply slip through. And then there are those who step off the hedonic treadmill entirely. They've learned that chasing social rituals or external approval rarely produces lasting satisfaction. Skipping birthdays isn't laziness or sadness. It's a strategic choice, protecting emotional stability, focusing energy where it matters, and keeping self-worth internal. Now that we understand the brain mechanics, let's explore the 3 types of birthday skippers and why their behavior differs so profoundly. Not all people who skip birthdays are the same. There are 3 distinct types. 1. The scarred but resilient. Repeated disappointments teach them to lower expectations. Not weak, but protective. Example, someone who grew up with canceled parties or inconsistent attention learns to emotionally shield themselves. 2. The distracted and time-blind. Life is full of responsibilities. Deadlines, work, family, and personal projects crowd out personal milestones. Their brain files birthdays as non-urgent, not because they don't care, but because attention is finite. 3. The self-determined. They've intentionally stepped off the hedonic treadmill. Happiness comes from within, not from external rituals. They experience internal stability that makes a birthday optional, not necessary. Understanding which type you are changes how you see yourself. Are you protecting yourself? Overloaded? Or truly independent? Next, we'll explore strategies for understanding yourself and others, helping you decide when to participate and when skipping is actually healthy. Now that we've explored the psychology and neuroscience, it's time to turn the lens inward. Ask yourself honestly, are you skipping birthdays because you fear disappointment or because you've learned to rely on yourself? Is your choice a form of protection or a conscious step toward emotional independence? Do you feel complete in moments of solitude, or does skipping make you feel secretly anxious? Psychologists call this the difference between 1. Contingencies of self-worth, where your happiness depends on external validation. People in this category may skip birthdays to avoid emotional pain, not because they truly don't care. 2. Self-determined independence, where happiness comes from within. These people have built internal resilience. They don't need a party to feel appreciated, a cake to feel loved, or a calendar reminder to feel worthy. Consider the long-term impact. Being aware of your own motivations allows you to stop feeling weird or different. It lets you honor your emotional boundaries while understanding others who approach birthdays differently. You can choose your social energy wisely, attending celebrations when it feels meaningful, skipping them when it feels unnecessary. Think of it this way, someone who ignores birthdays isn't missing out, they're investing in a more stable, resilient emotional life. They've chosen quality over quantity, internal satisfaction over fleeting social rituals. And here's something fascinating. By practicing this self-awareness, you can teach others to respect your choices without judgment. People may initially misinterpret your independence as coldness, but clarity and consistency in your actions slowly communicate a new kind of social intelligence. This is why understanding the psychology of people who ignore their birthday because it feels safer isn't just about birthdays. It's about emotional self-mastery in everyday life. Next, we'll look at the ultimate takeaways for emotional resilience, how skipping birthdays connects to a broader philosophy of self-care, boundaries, and quiet strength. Let's tie everything together. Skipping birthdays isn't apathy. It's a conscious strategy to protect emotional well-being, built from experience, reflection, and self-awareness. We've learned that some people skip birthdays because repeated disappointment taught them to guard their hearts. Others skip because life is busy and dates blur into the bigger picture of priorities. And some skip because they've stepped off the hedonic treadmill, cultivating internal joy that doesn't rely on external events. All of these paths lead to the same core truth. Skipping birthdays can be an act of self-respect and emotional sophistication. If you resonate with this, know that you're not alone. You belong to a quiet, resilient tribe that doesn't need social rituals to feel complete. You're allowed to define your own milestones, set your own boundaries, and feel whole without a calendar reminder or a social spectacle. Remember, the video you clicked on wasn't just for entertainment. It's a guide to understanding yourself. Psychology of people who ignore their birthday because it feels safer. And if the thumbnail made you curious, why people ignore their birthday, you now know it's not about apathy or coldness. It's about safety, emotional intelligence, and mastering the art of self-reliance. So, if this video resonated, leave a comment sharing your experience. Hit subscribe to explore more insights into human psychology. And remember, there's power in quietly protecting your joy, even if the world doesn't notice. Your emotional resilience is your superpower. And skipping birthdays? That's just one way of raising tough, staying grounded, and thriving quietly in your own lane.